We are back with another episode of Failure is Progress presented by Sweat Factory CrossFit. I am Coach Frankie along with Coach Keith Barber. Just a few weeks away, we have Festivus Games presented by Sweet Cup Chef happening on October 21st, 2023. They'll be happening at our Rockledge and Clermont locations. I think there is still a little bit of time left to sign up.
It's going to be a great event. The workouts are already out. If you go to festivusgames.com/WODs, you can check out all the fun events that you will be partaking in. So grab a partner and let's get after it.
Nice. Exciting. What we got lined up today, brother?
Today, I wanted to discuss with you, my man, about the competition team that we just started over at the Clermont location. Kind of getting your perspective and seeing how you're feeling about the competition team, the idea of it, and what you were kind of expecting and things like that. I guess that's my first question. Like, what did you expect going into like the very first practice?
This is going to be fun, man. So I try not to go into things with too many expectations these days. I've just learned that going in with expectations always lets me down.
Yeah.
But I did go in with an open mind of just trying to learn. I was anticipating and hoping for a lot of skill work that we don't get to really hone in our 1 hour classes. And I love the fact that the competition classes are 2 hours. There's a lot. I think that it has gone very, very well. I've been very happy, both as a coach and as an athlete, because I get to look at you from different eyes, obviously heart eyes, but I get to look at you from the perspective of, coaching me and then also learning from you, which I think is so valuable. This weekend, you did something with the jerk where you started with the PVC pipe almost as if it was right on our forehead and then pushed from that position. And I had never thought of teaching it from that position, and that helped me greatly. So being able to see it from that perspective and then also seeing it from the athlete perspective, just the amount of information that you're giving us, it's very much it's almost like opening up our regular classes and getting that progression part in a much larger, more digestible way. So I really do enjoy that part of it. So yeah, man, no real expectations, but so far you've met all of them.
That's what I aim to do. Meet expectations I didn't know people didn't have. So what prompted you to join the competition team in the first place?
Man, the thing that prompted me, I had just finished the Tampa Bay games and I realized that I was not prepared enough. And I think every athlete who does any sort of competition kind of feels like they never are prepared enough. We go through hours and hours working out, and then we start, putting in a little bit extra time. And I think I did well at the Tampa Bay games, but there's always that part of me that feels like I should have prepared further. And when the opportunity to join the competition team came up, I thought it was such a special opportunity to be able to prepare better for competitions. I am doing Festivus Games, and I feel specifically like there are things that we've been doing in the competition classes that we don't get to do in our everyday workouts that are really preparing me for that. This weekend, we went through the complex that we'll be doing, and we were able to break that down further, as opposed to just going in on my own time or spending some class time or some extra credit time after class working on the workout from Festivus. We actually broke it down. We went through each individual movement. So the power clean, the deadlift, the jerk, the overhead squat, etc. And we went over each of these in their own right before combining them. And I think, like I said earlier, being able to take our progressions from our regular class, which is usually a maybe 5, 10, maximum 15-minute effort, and being able to break that down further over an hour is so, so valuable. So that's why I joined, man, being able to, again, have more in-depth knowledge of what it is I need to be working on and work on it more.
Yeah, for sure. You can't put, um, I mean, practice is just invaluable. You can't put enough emphasis on practice, especially when, like you said, dialing in those super technical movements. And most of our heavy events for competition are usually in some style of Olympic weightlifting.
Right.
So, kind of a fun question. Who did or didn't you expect to be on the team?
Oh man, that's a really good question. I definitely expected Heather, who's one of my teammates. Roan, I definitely expected. Um, and I definitely expected Jen to be there. Someone I didn't expect to be there. I didn't expect Kurt to be there.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't think Kurt would be there. It's kind of, again, more value for me to have him there. I respect him so much as an athlete, and I really do like seeing him in class. I don't get to work out with him often,
Mhm.
so I have enjoyed working out with him there. Um, and I didn't expect anyone from any other gyms to come in, but we have had Kiara come from our Afterburn gym, which is fantastic, and she did awesome. And I think there's also a Tiffany coming from Afterburn, and we haven't had a chance to meet yet, but I think she is coming
Yeah, I
in.
think she's
So
coming this weekend. Yeah.
yeah, I think the most surprising athletes for me, and I just have a big spot in my heart for them, is Ellie, Zoe, and Maddie,
Okay.
our kid athletes who are already doing competitions, and seeing them dedicate just more of their time to trying to get better at such a young age is phenomenal, both as a coach and as a father and as an athlete. It's inspiring to look over and see this little person putting in just as much effort as me, and in some cases more effort.
Yeah, they have that kid energy, so it's hard to keep up with them sometimes.
That is definitely true.
How has the competition team, if at all, helped you, like with your movements or your understanding of competition or whatever the case is?
Man, so for me, again, I think it's the same for me and Jen. It's so valuable from a coach's perspective to be able to come in and learn from you. Not only have you been doing this a lot longer than us, and do you have the greater credential, so to speak, but you also have a different perspective. I am more of the fun coach, and I really try to deliver the happy experience to our athletes. I want to make sure that everybody feels good and is really enjoying their time in the most fun way possible. You are very technical. You are very precise in your coaching. You can demonstrate movements, and you can also demonstrate how not to do movements. And I think being able to see those things from you and draw from them, also being able to ask you questions on the spot, is valuable for me. That part has really been the most special as an athlete. I think the extra time, whenever we're doing our workouts throughout the week, we always want to concentrate on the workout. We don't really want to concentrate on the warm up. We don't want to concentrate on accessory work. We don't want to worry about mobility. It's just not things we want to do because they're not fun, right? We're here for the meat, not the potatoes, so to speak. I think the competition class does a really good job of teaching us the importance of the mobility, teaching us the importance of the little micro pieces that come together for movements to be what they are. And that to me has been super valuable as an athlete. You know better than anybody how much I have struggled with my front rack position, for example, doing front squats, doing thrusters, doing cleans has been very difficult for me because I lack mobility in my wrists. I lack mobility in my lats to be able to get my elbows up high. And you've worked with me so much, teaching me the little tiny things that I could do to help get into those positions. And, just yesterday we had a workout. It was cleans, thrusters, and burpees over bar. And being able to do those cleans and get my elbows under that bar and being able to do those thrusters and get the bar to my actual shoulders versus just holding it on my wrist was an accomplishment. It was an accomplishment for
Absolutely.
me. Like for me, it was groundbreaking to be able to get my wrist there
Yeah.
and then not suffer the rest of the night
Yeah.
because of the pain that I had in my wrist. So, those things are so crucial to me, both in my athletic development and also in my recovery. You
Mm.
know, recovery is huge, and when you spend 2 or 3 days with your wrist in complete pain because you couldn't power clean or you tried so hard, it sucks. It gets in the way when you go back to the gym the next day and you want to do something. If we had that workout and then the next day we had to do something that included um, strict press, for example, doing that strict press is going to hurt now
Mm.
because I spent the other day doing those power cleans and doing those thrusters, and now my wrists are in a lot of pain, or
Yeah.
bench press or whatever. So being able to develop that over time is crucial. And I think the competition team does such a good job. You do such a good job of breaking down all those little things. The amount of time we spent in arches and hollows, nobody wants to do that during class,
Yeah.
So when we're here and the competition team is doing it, this is why we're here. We want you to make us do the things we hate the most. This past weekend, the assault bike, having us do the assault bike for calories with no arms, that was hard.
Mm.
It was harder than normal. And you had a specific purpose for that. You wanted to build a specific amount of lactic acid in our legs to get us, to the next movement and power through that. So all these little things, connecting them together is crucial to me. And I think that's been definitely the most beneficial part as an athlete.
Yeah, I probably don't mention too many more of the assault bike workouts. We might not have anybody else.
Man, it's funny we talk about that, right? Because we have these conversations, and I've told you, man, I really hate the assault bike. And then I started getting on the assault bike every single day, and I started falling in love with the assault bike, right?
Yeah.
Those are probably words nobody has ever used together. But the more we do the things we hate, the better we get at them. The better we get at them, the more we start to really enjoy them, right? Everybody hates double unders until they start to get double unders, and then they start grouping them in threes and fours, and then they get 10 in a row, and before you know it, they're doing double unders, and all of a sudden they don't hate double unders anymore, right? Because they got them. So we talk a lot about, if you hate something, that's what you need to work on. Embrace the suck and just do it. But it's funny you mentioned that about the assault bike, because so many people do not like the assault bike. There are some athletes who will opt to row instead of the assault bike. They may even want to run instead of the assault bike, which to me makes no sense. But, again, that's one of those things. Recently, I've started to run more because I don't like running. So I think it's important. And I think the competition team also does a good job of finding these little details and talking about them. I like our little after class discussions, finding those flaws, specifically working on those flaws, embracing those flaws is very important for all of us.
For sure. Anytime you can. I guess my goal isn't to exploit all of your weaknesses, but we do want to be working on the things that we're not good at. Like you just said, if you don't like something, it's probably just because you're not good at it. It's not because you actually just hate this movement or whatever it is, unless it's thrusters, because everybody hates thrusters. But
thrusters, burpees.
There was somebody yesterday that said that they didn't like thrusters, and I was like, you're kind of a psychopath. You're a little bit crazy.
So let me ask you this question. I'll ask you one. So when you are putting this together and you are taking into consideration the athletes that you have, what goes through your mind? What is your process sort of like as you're putting this together? I've seen a few of your lesson plans for our classes, which are mostly put together by Level Method. This is really your baby. This is Keith being 100% Keith, which again, I love. But give me some of the thought process you go through into putting together these workouts for the competition team.
Yeah, the main thing I start out with is the overview that I sent all of you guys when we started the competition team. So it always starts from there, and then I try to build out the sections from there. So just to give the listeners a some insight, the what was I just saying? The overview.
Yeah.
I forgot what words were for a second. The overview for this cycle is to strengthen up our gymnastics and our toes to bar as well as our chest to bar pull ups. We are working on our barbell cycling to get more efficient at that, and then also working on our aerobic capacity with our running so that we can eventually use our aerobic system to recover while we're still moving. So I always start there and then kind of branch out from there. I look at the movements that we did the previous weeks before. What I will do now, since it's happened twice now, is I will start looking at the workouts that we've done during class throughout the week
I
to
was
make sure
just
that we're
going to
not.
ask about that.
So I haven't been doing that because I was programming so far in advance. In advance. So I was just like kind of plugging them into Chalk.it Pro, and then it's happened twice now where we had thrusters on Friday, and then I had thrusters programmed on Saturday, and then last week I think it was I think I changed the I don't know, it was the run or something. No, we did run last week.
We
I don't
had
know. We
devil's
had
press,
something.
devil's press, and run.
No, that was week 2. Last week, week 3, we had the rope climb, run, and
Yes.
something else.
And the
Oh,
complex.
and the squats. The squats.
Oh, the squats. Yeah.
That was the Metcon. Yeah, the complex was our weightlifting. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had something that was, I think it was lunges. We lunged on Friday,
Yes.
and then I didn't want to do the lunges again, so I switched it to
Yeah.
the squats.
We had a ton of lunges the day before.
Yeah, and I didn't want to go those back to back because I'm pretty sure Allison would have stabbed me or something. She was pretty sore from those lunges. But yeah, so I will start to integrate that or take that into consideration because not that doing movements back to back is bad, but it's not typically the most exciting thing for most people, especially if it just beat you up yesterday. You don't want to repeat that the day after. But yeah, I typically start there. I try to pick out certain movements that maybe we haven't seen in a while as far as the class goes. Like last weekend, we had front squats in a workout and overhead squats in a workout. Usually we don't have that, or excuse me, I should say a Metcon. Usually we don't have them in a Metcon. Usually that's only like reserved for strength work for whatever reason.
Yes.
But I think there is huge benefits to doing those movements in a high intensity environment. So there was
and they were fun. They sucked until they were over, but it was fun.
Yeah. So yeah, I start there. Last week, I also looked at some of the competitions that we had coming up. So the workout the Metcon that we did was called Nashville from the competition that Zoe's doing. I can't think of the name of it right now.
Is it Vanguard?
No. She's doing like the South Fittest or Southeast.
Southeast Fittest, I think.
Something like that. Yeah. But the workout's called Nashville, and it's from that competition with the rope climbs and squats and I added in the run. The workout is actually just the rope climbs and the squats. It looked like a really fun workout. We haven't done rope climbs in a while. I said, let's give this one a go.
Yeah. Whenever we do have these workouts, there's always one portion of the Metcon that we focus on most in the progression, right? So let's say, using this example, there was rope climbs, there was front squats, there was running, then there was rope climbs, back squats, running, then rope climbs, overhead squats, running, right? So how do you pick which of those three, whether it's the squats, the running, or the rope climbs, that you want to focus most of your progressions on? Would you base that on previous workouts we've done? Would you base that on the difficulty of, or the most difficult progression or the most difficult movement in that Metcon?
Yeah, it's kind of a combination of both. It is the difficulty of the movement, obviously. If we have something that is not as difficult, like considering a back squat compared to a rope climb, we probably need to spend a little bit more time with the rope climbs. And then also like whatever we go over most frequently, like if we've had rope climbs the last, every weekend for the last month, and we've gone over a lot of progressions for rope climbs, we probably need to spend more time on that back squat because contrary to popular belief, it is a very technical movement. So it just depends on, like I was saying before, just like what has the biggest need, and then trying to address that to make sure that everybody gets something out of it.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, like I was thinking, for example, today we had our standard Metcon, which was jump rope, bar muscle ups, jump rope, toes to bar, right? And jumping rope is something we do more often than bar muscle ups. So I
sure.
really tried that. We also had inverted rows, which we don't use much. So I spent more time on that. And then obviously we had the knee raises, leg raises, toes to bar, which we do more often as well. So I didn't focus as much on those, and I focused more on what we do least of.
Yeah.
So
And it's kind of that same triage method where you're like, okay, I only have 15 minutes to go over something. You know what I mean? So let me spend the bulk of that with what has the biggest need. Like you said, today it's probably the bar muscle ups because, I mean, you don't want to spend a ton of time going over jump rope progressions and then they have to do another 350 jump rope.
Right.
Calves are just blown out.
That is a good point. That is a good point. I didn't even consider, but yeah, I did it on purpose.
Yeah, for sure. My question to you would be, when do you expect to start seeing results? And I guess results is, I guess I meant that from a purely like a fitness standpoint.
I love this question.
Like when do you expect to get stronger or be faster or whatever the case is?
I love this question because so many of us as coaches hear, well, I'm not seeing results. It's one of the easiest things for people to say. And I think for one, going into this with the right expectations is important. Like I told you, I tried not to have any expectations, but just gauging from how I felt at Tampa Bay games to how I feel now, I'm already seeing results. For me, being able to, like I said, get that front rack position, just being in those positions more and being in the, like I said, the micro positions that we go through or the micro progressions that we go through for those positions more time on Saturdays has really been helpful. And then, yeah, man, like my aerobic capacity has definitely increased. I haven't been pushing myself as much throughout the week so that I could make sure that on Saturday I'm nice and recovered and ready for the beatdown you're going to give us. I'm sorry, for the workout. But yeah, I think I'm already seeing results. Can't speak for the others, but I can say that I've been watching Roan in the afternoons. My buddy Roan is killing it, and I think he's definitely seeing some results. We did the partner workout together on Saturday, and we were doing pretty good. So congratulations to him. And if he thinks I'm wrong, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Where do you feel you've improved the most since joining up?
I think
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I may have mentioned some of that in my previous, but I think just because I have the ability to, I've improved most in my coaching. I think having you as the example in the competition class is way different from having you as the example in a regular class. And I think that's where I have definitely increased the most, seeing more in-depth progressions and seeing more instruction. It's also the class environment, which has been kind of eye-opening. The attention that the class environment has is different. We're all there for this reason. We're all paying more to be there. So there's less of the quote unquote tomfoolery. There is still a lot of that going on.
Still a good time.
But there is a lot more focus from the athletes watching you do these. And we are also, which I really enjoy seeing, the athletes are kind of getting into their groups once we break away, and we're all helping each other with a little bit more emphasis than we would maybe during a regular Metcon Monday through Friday, which is really, really fun. So for me, that's where I think I definitely improved the most on that.
Okay. And what would you say to someone who was like on the fence about joining the competition team?
Oh man, that's an easy one. So first of all, I don't know if we offer it in all the other gyms, but if anyone from one of our other gyms is listening to this and wants to join us in Claremont, you're more than welcome. If you want it at your gym, please let your head coach or GM at your gym know that you want this at your gym, and that you'd like to try to get a group together and talk with your friends and say, hey, we want to bring this to this gym. I think it's very, very valuable. What I would say to a specific person who's trying to think about this, think about what your goals are. Think about what your reasoning for coming to CrossFit is, and if you are considering getting into the competition circuit, even if it's something just like Festivus, I would say consider joining so that you can get better, right? For those people who aren't doing competition at all, think about getting better, right? If you have something that you're struggling with, and I'll just use the double under example again. you know, this might be the class for you to really hone in on the skills that you need to break through and make you better throughout the rest of the week. Just because you're not signing up for competitions, every few months, maybe you're not doing Vanguard, you're not doing Tampa Bay Games, you're not doing Festivus, but you do want to get better Monday through Friday. You want to be able to hang with XO person in the gym through the week that you admire, and you want to work out with them, and you're trying, but maybe they're just a couple of levels ahead of you. Maybe they're doing prescription workouts and you're still stuck in blue. You want to get to that next color level. Maybe you want to really emphasize the amount of work that you're putting towards your assessments, and you really want to, you've been stuck on the same assessment color for a while and you want to move up. This is the team for you, because you're gonna hone in on those. And like I said, being here one day a week for these 2 hours feels like you're getting 6 or 8 hours worth of knowledge. It feels like you're getting 6 or 8 hours worth of adaptation, I guess, or progress for your body, right?
For sure.
Because it does feel, honest to God, this weekend I looked up and the clock said, I think, 20 minutes, and I felt like I was there for an hour, right? When you're doing arches and hollows and you're trying to accumulate 2 minutes of L sits, the time stretches.
Yeah.
The time slows down and you
Stops
feel
almost.
like you're there forever. So, I think our bodies respond to that, and it means a lot. And then you get all Sunday to recover.
Yeah, you get that one day. Definitely agree with that. If you guys would like to have a competition team at your gym, please reach out to your GM. This means a lot to me. Clinton Macy giving me the opportunity and being able to put something together. Competition has always been one of my favorite parts about CrossFit. It's why I initially got into CrossFit and why I initially started coaching. So being able to put together a team of individuals that are here all for the same purpose, same reason, we all want to grow and get better, means a lot to me. And if you guys have any more feedback that you would like to give me, that's kind of why I sat down with you, Frankie, is just to make sure that I'm delivering on what you guys are expecting to be getting. Because what I don't want to happen is for, 6 months down the road, somebody's like, this competition team sucks. This isn't what I thought it was going to be at all. And it's just like, well,
No,
I didn't know that.
I don't think that'll be the case at all, man. I think you're
Uh,
doing a great job. I would also encourage any of the other coaches listening to this. I know Saturdays are a little bit tough for some of us because we may be coaching on Saturday. Um, but I encourage you as a coach to come in and see Keith, going through his instructions. And again, it may not even be Keith coaching, because I know Jen coached one. I believe I'm on the schedule to coach one. So it'll be fun. And the same goes for that as well. If you are a coach and you would like to coach one of these classes, raise your hand and say, hey, I'd like to give this a shot. I think it could be interesting. Keith has the programming down. I really like how much fun we're having with this. The camaraderie between the athletes is amazing. I think it's been very fun to see the growth from week 1 to week, what are we in now, 4?
Yeah.
I mean, it's been great. And I want to see where it goes next. The idea is to continue doing this moving forward, right? There's no specific amount of time.
No, the way it was explained to me is that this is just going to be an extra service that we have for anybody that's interested in getting better and going to competitions.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, right, we're just constantly trying to create as much value as possible for all of our athletes, and this is definitely valuable. Like I said, feeling like I got 6 to 8 hours worth of extra work in a 2 hour session is incredible. So yeah, I mean, I love it, dude. I think you're doing an excellent job, and I really appreciate it both as an athlete and as a coach.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And like we mentioned, guys, if you want to come out and hang out with us during the competition team, it is from 7 to 9 on Saturday mornings at the Claremont location right now. It'll soon be at the other locations if you guys want it. But please have that discussion with the GM at your gym.
Yeah, and one last time, we'll go ahead and let you guys know about the Festivus Games presented by Sweet Cup Chef, October 21st. And we want you guys to come by and see us as well. We'll have a booth there. If either myself or Keith are around, we'll try to make some time to be there. Swing
we'll
by,
take
say
pictures,
hello.
We'll autograph T-shirts, we'll kiss babies, whatever you guys want,
Okay, Keith will sign and give autographs. But yeah, guys, we'd love to hear from you in person, especially if you're from one of the other gyms and we haven't gotten a chance to coach you yet or meet you yet. Definitely want to hear from you, and we're excited for it. So we'll see you there. And that does it for this episode. Thanks so much, guys. We'll catch you on the next one.